At the end of the day, I think you should buy Bitcoin. There's this tendency to want powerful people or people in a leadership position. You get emotional when their every worldview doesn't line up with yours.
It's Monday, January 6th, 2025, and this is your Mining Disrupt News Surge. As always, everything that you see here is for entertainment and education purposes only. No financial advice from this guy. Also, take a moment and hit that like button, subscribe. If you like what you see here and you want more of it, I do it every single week. Right there, that QR code, you want to scan that. That's going to get you tickets to the Mining Disrupt Expo happening in Fort Lauderdale, March 25th through the 27th in Fort Lauderdale, which is just up the road from Miami. It's going to be toasty, it's going to be nice, it's going to be warm. Bring your swim trunks, get ready to meet other Bitcoiners, and take a plunge in that Atlantic Ocean. We're going to jump right on over to the numbers. The Bitcoin price is $98,302. That is as of Saturday the 4th when I record this. Public nodes a bit over 20,281. Blocks are coming in at a screaming 9 minutes and 45 seconds, thanks to that average hash rate of almost 800 exahash, which is it's crazy. That is insane. That number is massive. The on-chain fees are, I don't need to say it. We're going to move right on into the news. I'm going to be talking about that Sam Hyde video a bit in the opinion section, but let's jump right over into the news. On Monday, we had, let me get right over to it here, Julian Liniger showing us a list of over 70 public companies holding nearly 600,000 Bitcoin on their balance sheets. And just like Relay, many more private companies are doing this. Does your company hold Bitcoin? If not, why not? My personal prediction is that by the end of 2025, we will have more than 200 companies holding Bitcoin and more than 1 million Bitcoin collectively held on their balance sheets. Moving right on to Tuesday, we've got this tweet from Blockstream at Blockstream. Stay connected to Bitcoin. No internet required. You read that right or heard that right. Blockstream satellite is back to full strength with Telstar 11N coverage restored for Europe and Africa. New frequencies, improved GUI, and enhanced API support are just the start. Here are the details. Check that out in the description down below. You can read the whole thing about that. That's pretty crazy, the whole thing about using Bitcoin with a satellite kit. That is really cool, actually. On Wednesday, we've got this story from Daniel Batten, DS Batten, feel good story. We're going to scroll right down here to the cool down. Experts are turning to an unexpected industry to ease geopolitical tensions and offset rising energy costs. It's about solving real-world problems. Reminds me of something I've heard where people say, oh, if a nation-state gets a whole bunch of Bitcoin, other nation-states might invade to get that Bitcoin. No, that doesn't work with Bitcoin because it's an intangible thing that you can just move around on the other side of the world, to all the way over to the other side of the world to an ally nation-state at the speed of light for basically no cost. So no, you can't invade and take their Bitcoin. That won't work. And because you can't do that, you've got increased cooperation. Okay, this is the big story right here, and it ties directly into what I'm going to be talking about in the opinion section. But on January 2nd, Eric Trump, who is a son, one of Trump's sons, Donald Trump's sons, says 2 friends, 1 passion, Bitcoin, and then the rocket ship at Saylor. And then Michael Saylor, replying to this, says Bitcoin is on the menu at Mar-a-Lago. Saving my thoughts for the opinion section on that one, but yeah, there's a lot to break down there. On Friday, Knut Svanholm says, quote, Bitcoin is for enemies, end quote. Does not mean you have to like your enemies or the fact that they own Bitcoin. And on Saturday, this one is from Nico at Bitvolt. Make sure you have more Bitcoin today than the day before. Everything else is noise. Okay, opinion section time. There was a party. There was a big $100,000 party, celebration, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day party down in Miami with Saylor and company. There were a lot of people invited. Some people weren't invited. I wasn't invited. No offense. It's okay. You can get me next time, Saylor. But there were plenty of people there that people on Twitter were not a fan of. the word grifter was thrown around and scammer and this and that and okay, you know what? It doesn't matter. Good money tends to one, meaning other monies that are not very good are going to fail, will crumple, will be sucked into the black hole that is the good money, Bitcoin. That's what we talk about here. That's what we are talking about here. Now, there are some people that dislike Trump and that whole side of the political spectrum so much that they might go so far, I don't know, I haven't heard this, but they might go so far as saying that they are an enemy. Certainly a political enemy. Not that you want any real physical antagonistic element to be involved there, but we don't like that side of the aisle. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you don't like that side or that you like this side. In the realm of Bitcoin, everybody benefits. Calling back to that very opening video where Sam Hyde says what he does, I'm not going to break down the video, but he says at the end of the day, buy Bitcoin. If there's one thing that I have learned when it comes to people and interactions, and this is why people talk about networking so much as I'm not a fan of that particular word, but the point is that if you have connections, this is why a lot of people say that you should even go to school these days, is to make those connections. If you have those connections, you can get so much further. You can do so much more than somebody without any connections. This is true of Bitcoin too. If you're connected to other nodes, if you're connected to your Lightning channels, you have other nodes, you can do more. Every individual that has Bitcoin is, in a sense, a node. The more nodes that we have, the more individuals, the more users, the more people that are interacting with this thing, the better we all are. And the better the entirety of the world will be when everybody is using Bitcoin, a good, hard, sound, dare I say, perfect money. Now, this is my question to you. Do you think that Michael Saylor, with his connections, knows some things that you don't? Is it possible that he knows some things about Bitcoin that Trump has planned that you don't know? Is it possible he bought and went full on Chad ape mode, guerrilla rampaging through the Bitcoin factory, getting as much as he possibly could throughout the month of December because he knows something? Is it possible that in less than 2 weeks, as of this release on the 6th, that in less than 2 weeks, on the 20th, the world changes to a Bitcoin standard in a way that we can only appreciate when we look back in time and go, oh, wow. No, the writing was all over the wall, and people tried to tell us in no uncertain terms. There are people like Senator Lummis. There are people like Dennis Porter. There are people like Eric Trump and Saylor, and basically anybody that has any sort of connection to these people, and JFK and Trump being at the Bitcoin. I don't know what else we need to see aside from the ink drying on the page that is signed. Yes, we're going to make this strategic reserve a thing. It seems more possible by every passing day that the world is about to enter a Bitcoin standard, and we are going to enter a golden renaissance built on a foundation of the hardest money that has ever been known to man, starting in T-minus 2 weeks. What a time to be alive. Until next week.